And as always, your views and comments are welcome. Look for us on our social media handles. Join us on Facebook and on Twitter. Remember to add the hashtag to your posts as you send us those comments. Once again, you're welcome. Now, the emerging problem of violence riddling the electoral process is beginning to become more pronounced and a cause for worry, and has caught the attention, in fact, of the Inspector General of Police, John Kudalo. We will bring you details of that interview in just a moment, but it comes as the wave of violence begins to increase. The latest is that the office of the Electoral Commission in Suhum has been shut down in the eastern region after some thugs reportedly attacked its officials. Staff of the commission were threatened and warned they will be killed if they do not do the voter transfer of some people who are actually outside the constituency. Let's go live to the community now. Maxwell Kodeko has spent some good time in that community to bring us an update this afternoon. Maxwell, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Francis.
At 12 o'clock, we know that the EC had shut down some prospective individuals who wanted their votes transferred have been there stranded. What's happening there right now?
The issue or the situation is the same. The office is still locked, and then the people or applicants who want to transfer their vote to the constituency do not have the opportunity to do so because officials say they cannot work as a result of what happened yesterday. Tens of people were turned out because of the incident. As I indicated earlier on the midday news, police visibility is felt on the ground, and then also I can report that calm has restored to the place. You realize that the name of the municipal chief executive, Honorable Margaret Ansai, still happens to be the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Suhum constituency cropped up in the development. It was reported that the tax who attacked the EC officials seek refuge at her residence when the police attempted to effect their arrest. I just had a word with her a while ago, and she tells me that he cannot grant us any interview. He cannot talk to us on record because he's been out of the district since yesterday. So she's unable to tell us what exactly happened and then who these guys are. I can also report that even though the attacks have been named, they are known faces in the constituency, the police are unable to effect arrest as we speak now.
Why?
Before midday, the district police commander, Superintendent Yahaya Muchiraru, told me that he cannot talk to me on the matter. But shortly after midday, he had a short briefing with the press. And what he said was that the police are on top of the issue. The police will continue to protect lives and property, and they will make sure that the lives of the EC officials are protected.
Okay, Maxwell, slow down. Maxwell, slow down. Well, just one moment. You mentioned that the police are unable to arrest the thugs who did this at the EC office. Do you know why?
They will not tell you what exactly is happening. But when I asked the superintendent, Yahaya Muchiraru, he told me investigation is ongoing. The police is still investigating. So I asked whether they are going to make an arrest. And what he said was that investigation is ongoing. They are still doing investigation into the matter. But as exactly what the reason is or what the causes are, one cannot tell why the police have still not effected an arrest. We're just hoping and believing that before evening we will hear the news that they have arrested these people. Earlier in the morning, the police picked intelligence that there is a possibility of a counter-attack from some youth in the MPP. So they had to beef up security at the EC office to forestall further clashes in the constituency. But as we speak now, the situation is calm.
Okay. Now, you've already mentioned that the NDC in the constituency have been addressing the media and apologizing for the conduct of these thugs. Did they explain whether or not they had sanctioned this action?
Precisely. The constituency youth organizer in the morning had a short interaction with a section of the media who were present at the EC office. And then he indicated that the incident happened at their blind side because yesterday most of them were out of the constituency. They came in the evening ahead of the news, so he apologized profusely and assured the EC officials that the incident will not happen again. However, he wasn't specific as to whether there's going to be any actions or punitive action against these known people who are supporters of the NDC. So what he came to do is to apologize for what happened to the EC and then assure them that it will not happen again.
Okay. Now we know that nevertheless, all the problems that have happened at the office, it will be reopened on Monday. Do you know what the security arrangements are in that regard?
There is no definite arrangement for Monday, but the police assured us that there would be security for the EC officials throughout the exercise. The Superintendent Yahaya mentioned that they will protect the EC's property and the officials during and before, during and after the exercise. So we just hope and believe that Monday, all things being equal, if they change their mind and commence with, we will still feel the presence of the police at the EC's office. However, some of the officials said they are not even safe in their home because as of last night, these thugs, some of them visited the homes of some of these EC officials and threatened to kill them. So there has been another issue of threatening to kill. I mean, they threaten the lives of the people. So some of them still not feel safe even in their own house.
All right, thank you, Maxwell Kudako, for that update from Suhum in the Eastern region. Now, we know that there were also some related issues up north, in the Northern region, where we're learning that yesterday, after this similar incident, today the EC has actually reopened its offices today. Let's get more from Martina Bugri. She's been monitoring that situation for us. Martina, good afternoon to you. What has changed in terms of the security arrangement for this station in the Northern region?
The security actually has been up at this center I'm talking of. When we got there this morning, there was a military vehicle parked in front of the office with some military officers, and some police officers went around the perimeter of the offices of the EC where the registration was taking place. And so security is based up in the area there.
Okay, and for those who are trooping to this center to do the voter transfer, what have they been saying about what had happened in the past and what they seek to do going forward?
When I spoke to some of them, they said they were not part of those who actually came there to do the registration yesterday. What we gathered was that these people came from the hinterland into the community to do the registration, and so because they were asked not to, they went back, and none of them has returned. But those we met there this afternoon say the process is smooth and they are ready to take their turn.
All right, thank you, Martina, for that update. That's from the Northern region, but we know that there's some more still related to EC's voter transfer exercise and some developments in relation to that. In fact, in the Western region, in the Efia constituency, we're learning that some youth of the NDC and the MPP have been clashing today over the construction of a bridge which is causing some problems in the area. We are yet to get to our correspondent for an update, but when we do, we'll bring you that story. It also brings back the issues to do with electoral violence, and that is something that has caught the attention of the Inspector General of Police, John Kudawa. Today, we have been getting some response from him. We'll bring you that in just a moment. But the EC here in Accra are worried. 3 incidents already in the past 1 week, still to do with the voter transfer exercise and violence. Well, Deputy Head of Communications at the EC, Yusuf Ayuba, has been speaking to my colleague, Joseph Akable, explaining what the EC is doing to forestall any future trouble in relation to that exercise.
Source of worry to the Electoral Commission, because we stated clearly the procedure for voter transfer. We've stated the qualification for one to be able to transfer his or her votes. So it's a surprise to the Commission that this simple process is degenerating into violence across, some of our offices in the region. So we are not very happy about a new development, because we made it clear to the political parties that they were just there to observe the process. They were not supposed to interfere in any of the processes. If an applicant comes to the office and applies for voter transfer, it is the duty of the Electoral Commission to look at the application and see whether the applicant is qualified for his or her votes to be transferred. If the applicant meets the criteria for voter transfer, the commission would transfer the applicant's vote for him or her.
Is it a case that the commission underestimated the volatile nature of this process that is ongoing?
Like we've always said, if you look at the nature of voter transfer, the political parties would always want to take advantage of it to bus people to our offices. We've also stated that when it comes to registration, the phenomenon of busing, when it comes to election, the phenomenon of busing, So these are some of the issues that came up in 3 of our offices where it ended up in violence, where people were in the queue. They didn't want to, specifically Ismail where they came, they queued, and this party said they came first, the opposing party also said they came first, so it degenerated. So, but we've put in measures, to make sure that the violence does not continue. Because
but even before we get to those measures, before this entire process started, what was the security arrangement across the country?
Every district has a district security task force, when it comes to elections or when election is approaching, So we spoke to them. We instructed all our district officers that when there's a need for security, they should apply to the district police command so that security will be provided for them, as and when they think that there's a need for them to get adequate security to protect the process.
So it means you didn't have the security attached to them. It had to be upon a request before they had to be provided with security personnel.
Because voter transfer is a simple process. We did not anticipate that it would get into this, because the criteria for voter transfer is clearly stated. You must have lived in the area in which you are transferring your vote not less than 12 months. You must have a permanent abode. You must give us your permanent address, and you must be a registered voter. So if you meet these criteria, then your vote will be transferred for you.
The areas we are talking about, do they fall within the EC's identified flashpoints?
In every district, this exercise is taking place at the district offices, where under normal circumstances wouldn't say it's a how do you call it, a flashpoint. Normally flashpoints are designated at the various polling stations, specific polling stations within the district that we've identified, but our district offices are not flashpoint areas.
But for some of the district offices, because with that event that I attended, the EC boss mentioned, she mentioned that you've identified 81 constituencies, and the constituencies will be having district offices. So at that level, I'm asking whether you have some district offices in the place that we are talking about that fall within the constituency that have been identified as flashpoints.
When we say a constituency is a flashpoint, not every area of the constituency, it's identified polling stations under the constituency. So, but the district offices in the areas that we are talking about is not specifically a flashpoint area. But then within the district, we could have areas where we would designate them as flashpoints.
Because I'm asking that because if indeed it falls, some of them fall within, then it perhaps means that the commission should have first and foremost provided such security in place.
I'm saying that when we talk about flashpoint, it is not about the whole of the constituency. within the constituency, there are areas where we could identify specific polling stations that we could identify as flashpoints. When we talk about flashpoint, there are areas where it may not even come up as a flashpoint, but violence could erupt at any time. So you cannot specifically say, although we have designated or specific constituencies, specific polling stations that we've designated as flashpoints, at any point in time a new flashpoint area could come up. So as and when those issues come up, then we would instruct that security should be provided for our officers.
Now let's move on. You mentioned some measures. You're about to mention some measures, I must say, that the commission intends putting in place. What are these measures? We've heard reports of some offices of the commission being closed down because the workers there are saying they fear for their lives. What is the commission doing to handle this situation?
As at this morning, the commission has made adequate security, to be provided for these offices where violence has erupted. Not only those offices, any of our offices across the country, we are making sure that if even there's no direct security, but we make sure that there's a standby security, security personnel standing by us, and when they realize that an issue could crop up, they can come in and protect lives and property.
So yes, the EC may not be happy about developments in Suhum, Kukum, and in the western region and up north, but the IGP, John Kudala, is also unhappy about the developments. In fact, he says with less than 80 days to go, they've been working hard to get some answers and try and deal with this situation as soon as possible. He's been addressing the media today on the sidelines of his tour of some key areas in Accra.
Well, these are the 4th elections that we are going to police. And we know the gadgets we need. I'm not saying we have the biggest numbers as we require. I mean, it doesn't happen anywhere in the world. But we need the optimum, the minimum of which we can perform, at least as policemen. And I'm sure that we took very good care of the ones that we had in the previous election 4 years ago. The policing elections is a special act. It's different from the everyday policing activity, routine policing activity. So there's some gadgets and training expertise which are only used for elections. So after elections, we keep them, we clean them, and put them down. That's the elections occur. It's true that we've increased the electoral areas or the police stations, which means we need more gadgets. I've made our request to government, and I'm sure we shall get them before the elections.
Do you have enough men?
Enough men, no police have had enough men or that they want. Also, policing goes with a proportionate listen to the populace. The US standard is 1 to 500. We started our elections, we had 1 to about 1,000 something. We went down, we are getting closer to the UN standard, now about 1 to about 700. And I'm sure that with this kind of recruitment, we may not get all of them on board, but at least we are undergone 1 or 2 months training to support where we feel it is weak, and then cool where they can support, not the difficult areas, where the experienced ones will go into the more difficult areas. So I'm sure we shall get there when we get to elections to have enough men. So men are concerned. We are getting very close to the UN. Yeah. And also, you must also know that the police don't do it alone. We always rely on our sisters and brothers from other security agencies. And I'm glad to tell you that they have already brought their deployment. The number of people they want to bring and the names, we got them since June this year. So we are poised. We know the number of police stations where we have to have 2 or 3 people. The patrol teams that will go around. Then they had level patrol teams, the lethal ones that will come. So we have a 3-tier policing method or measures for the elections, and I'm sure that we have what they meant to do it. We had about 16,000, now about a very big deal, about 2,000 police stations. So, of course, I want to police all of them, which calls that we need more hands. We don't have to be told, we need more hands. So, definitely, as a very progressive and then police institution, as we do everything scientifically, we don't do these things ad hoc. We believe in science and everything that we do, and of course we have to increase the numbers. Unfortunately, in this part of the world that we come from, elections like I don't know how to say it, but it's very, very tense. But otherwise, you can sit home and cast your vote. But everybody wants to be in the police station. I know what they are doing there, but they should try to let the polling, those who we have mandated, those who are supposed to preside over, we should allow them to do their work. Vote and go and relax. And then at 5:30 or 7:30, whatever the time is, you listen to the results. But nobody would like to foment trouble, and this will make him with equal force.
So that's the IGP, John Kodala, speaking to the media today on the silence of his tour of some key areas here in Accra. We know already that with less than 80 days to go to the elections, issues of security will be on the front burner as we prepare for the elections. Well, talk of his rounds today, my colleague Jennifer Kemwa has been with him as he visited the Ghana Traditional Council and some other areas today as he continues to check out how we are preparing for the elections security-wise. Jennifer joins me in the studio now. Jennifer, good to see you today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can tell it's been a very interesting day for the IGP, but tell us what he's been up to today.
Well, today has been very interesting and very busy. He started off at the Greater Accra Regional Minister's office, and he conferred with him on assessment of the police force on the ground, their readiness towards the election 2016, and so far so good. He's very impressed with the amount of preparation that he's seen in the region. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Nilai Afote Agbo, also promised to support the police force with logistics and even with lobbying in case they need information or equipment in order to make sure they're able to prevent any instances, or rather any more instances of election-related violence. From there, they moved to the Ghana Traditional Council to speak to the Council of Elders over there. Over there as well, they received quite a number of praises from the Ghana Traditional Council for the amount of relative peace that the region has experienced, particularly during the Homo War period. But they did ask that there would be more recruitment of civilians into the police force as a kind of civilian watchman or civilian patrol in areas where police presence is very thin. The last stop was at the National Police Training School at Tesano, where there was a simulation exercises of what police should do during riots or in case of violence during rioting or demonstrations. And that was actually quite interesting as well, because they went through all the various exercises, peaceful and violent as well. And then, of course, the IGP addressed the media on how the police are dealing with election-related violence cases across the country.
Okay, I'm sure we can hear from the IGP now, speaking at the training school about preparations and how well the police service is preparing for the elections.
I know that in this part of the world where we belong, elections are very, very critical, and that we have to look at it with all the seriousness it deserves. So we as a police institution embarked on our preparations since last year, trying to ensure that the ground is quite enabling, safe, transparent and fair, so far as we are concerned with our mandate, so that at the end of it all, everyone will be happy with whatever the outcome of the elections are, and then accept it in good faith. So we embarked on what we call the IGP's Dialogue Series, and we started by first meeting the youth of all the political parties. And this one, we were very tactical. We met them all at a single meeting with their representatives. It was quite a hectic and a very frank meeting that we had with them, spanning for almost 5 hours. But the beauty of it is that at the end of it all, we came to a general consensus that as they as a youth could channel their exuberance to other profitable ventures for the country and for their parties than to ask themselves to be used to create chaos and anarchy in the country, which they all agreed, because there are many things they could do rather than going to snatch papers, coming to disturb at polling stations and other things. We are going to have another final round of meetings with them. From there we moved to the political parties themselves, and this we also did tactically by meeting them individually. And then we shall meet them finally also as one group in our second tour. They're also very frank. They told us what they felt were police actions and inactions which always raise eyebrows and suspicion. Also told them what they also do sometimes at the police stations, at their rallies and other utterances, which also makes policing very difficult. And then they all agree on other things that we all spoke about. They moved a step further to meet the presidential candidates and then their running mates to catch out a common protective umbrella for them, so that they all be on an equal plane. No matter the party you belong, we give you the same number of guards or details. Also, it was very hectic. Some were trying to say that they could provide their own system, and we made it upon them, or do the very good argument that the police only institution mandated to provide social securities, especially armed security. If they have political rallies and they want their men to come and help the police to maintain law and order within their confines, pushing their men back, putting them in good arrangements, you have no problem. But leaving your confines and going to another party's domain, threatening them, you are here, so other parties are that place, you go there for macho men, heckling them, or they are traveling, go and make those things will not be permitted, because they were acting ultra vires. Those who understood it and finally gave in. And I'm happy to say that at this juncture, as far as I'm concerned, my record shows that all the political party leadership, the running mates and their presidential candidates have police protection for them, almost meant running now, and we have no complaints, which means we've all accepted to play within the ramifications of the game that we all have agreed to play, the rules and regulations governing it.
Well, the Greater Accra Regional Minister had cause to say some number of things about how they will help the Ghana Police Service to do its work as we prepare for the elections. Jennifer, what did Nilaya Afotagbo have to say in terms of what the Regional Coordinating Council would do to support the Ghana Police Service?
Well, he did acknowledge that the Regional Coordinating Council is a parallel body to the police service, and as and when the police service needs their assistance, they will make themselves available. He offered his 100% support to the police service to ensure that this election is free, fair, and violence-free.
Through your rounds, I will plead with you that you talk to your men on the ground, that if some of us were voted for by a particular political party to be where we are, but in our actions and inactions, we hardly show of what even political party will belong, because work is work and then Ghana is Ghana. With my understanding and the wisdom that I have in making sure that Ghana moves forward, we should impart into them so that they will handle issues in the way that they have to handle them professionally. They have to go deep into their hearts. They should be open-minded, free to treat everybody fairly, because no one is above the law. And when it comes to work, we are one family. That is my understanding. In my constituency, I've handled issues. If one wants to naturally and wholeheartedly work for his country, and it is not personal, I don't think elections should be do or die affair. No, at various levels. So why not? The way we handled other elections, because I was here 2012 before the elections, and everything went on very well. I did not influence any commander to do things in my interest or the interest of the government of the day. The same thing we are going to do this time, so that we'll still have our country solid and strong after the elections for us to move forward.
So as the regional minister, Nilaya Afotagbo, was speaking to journalists and also the Ghana Police Service as the IGP continued his tour of the region today. Well, we'll pause now. We'll come back and bring you more. In fact, the campaign trail has been hot today. Nana Akufo-Addo has been busy. All the other candidates have also been busy on the campaign trail. We'll bring an update. Plus, we also know that the EC has come out with a document, guidelines, which are supposed to guide aspirants for the presidential and parliamentary elections. What's the devil in the detail? Well, You're welcome back to the Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. And as you already know, most of the parties, with just 74 days to go to the elections, have been busy on the campaign trail. Nana Akufo-Addo has been busy today in Tema as he continues to convince Ghanaians to vote for him in this year's elections. We will also touch base with our correspondent in the Upper West region, who's following the campaign launch of the Chieftaincy Minister, Dr. Seydou Dana, as he's launching his bid to be Member of Parliament for Wa Central. We'll bring you those details in just a moment. But we know that the Electoral Commission today has spent some time to outdoor a document which in some respects will be a crystallization of CR94, helping us all to understand what the process will be in terms of our conduct and what our roles and responsibilities will be going into this election. Well, Charlotte to say did us the honors when she unveiled this document and told us why we even need it in the first place.
The Electoral Commission's officers across the nation will soon be receiving the nominations from candidates seeking to contest in this year's elections. So far, just for the presidential slots, we have had as many as 23 persons picking up nomination forms. This is made up of 16 political parties and 7 independent presidential aspirants. There are hundreds of parliamentary aspirants across the nation who have also picked up nomination forms. So clearly this is going to be a very competitive elections with a high level of interest in contesting. For all the candidates who have picked up nomination forms, it is important that the forms are filled out properly and submitted to the EC before they can be confirmed as candidates for the 2016 elections. And that is why we're launching this guide this morning. This guide helps the various presidential and parliamentary aspirants and their agents understand the requirements that they have to meet in order to become accepted as candidates and in order for them to successfully compete in the elections. For our democratic political system to be truly representative, voters need an electoral process that is executed with integrity. And ensuring integrity in the electoral process demands that candidates, agents, voters, and the Electoral Commission all conduct our activities in line with the electoral laws and the policies. And so, being 10 weeks away from the elections, we think it is important that we give this guide now out publicly so that all who are part of the process start taking the time to learn the laws that regulate the process and to guide it so that we can all better serve the interests of the electorate.
So that's all to say, telling us why we even need this document. But what's in this document she speaks so highly about? Well, my colleague Joseph Akabule was at that news conference, joins me now in the studio with some details. Joseph, good afternoon to you. You've spent some time to glance through this document. What's in it?
Well, so Francis, the document is in 4 parts. The first part talks about candidates, and with that part it explains who qualifies to be a candidate. We are talking about 2 candidates. We are talking about presidential and parliamentary candidates. So for a parliamentary candidate, you're expected to be at least 21 years before or on the day of election. You are expected that at least you should have lived in the area of residence for at least 5 years within a 10-year period before the election. Or if perhaps you've not lived there that long, you are expected to have been someone who hails from that particular constituency that you want to contest. And also, if you want to contest, you're supposed to pick the form from the Electoral Commission's district office in the constituency for which you want to contest for. So that is it with the parliamentary candidate. For the presidential candidate, you're expected to be at least 40 years of age. You're also expected to be, of course, a registered voter. Same applies to the parliamentary candidate. And for the 2 candidates too, you're also expected that you shouldn't be a dual citizen. Once you're dual citizen, you can't take part in the election. So that is it with regards to the details about candidates.
Yeah.
But then it also talks about polling agents, and that is the second part. And more importantly, outlines what a polling agent is expected to do on election day. So the EC expects that you get to the polling station in time. You are supposed to position yourself at a place so that you can see what is going on at that particular place. There are some don'ts that applies to polling agents. They are saying that the polling agents are not supposed to be checking the ID cards of electorates who are coming in to vote. When someone also gets to the polling station and he has a challenge, the polling agent is not supposed to assist the person. Yours is to just draw the attention of the presiding officer to ascertain the situation. Then again, if the entire process ends and counting is ongoing, you are expected not to take part in the counting process. You are just to observe and assist the EC and notify the presiding officer if you have any challenge with the entire process. Okay. So that part also deals with the issue about polling agents. Then another bit has to do with the biometric verification, and with that one, the Electoral Commission document says that it's going to be in two parts. We have the biometric system in place. We also have a manual verification system. Now, when you get to the polling station, the first step is to do the biometric verification system. But in the event that system fails, then all polling agents of the various parties will be notified that this individual wants to register, but the system failed to verify him. So because of that, we're going to use the manual system. And with that, you're supposed to make your ID available. In case you don't have your ID, they'll still check your name, because your name should be in a register. Then they will still match it up with the details, facial details, whether you are the same person in there. Then they verify you able to go ahead and vote. So that is it with that one. But still on that one, once you are verified manually, the EC will indicate in the voters register with a bar line indicating that Francis Aban, for instance, came to the police station and was verified manually and not by the electronic one, such that in the end, when the entire process will be able to identify those who were verified electronically and those who were verified manually. Then the last part of the document deals with additional information, and with that one, it states the fact that the commission will be relying on some temporary agents for the election, and with those temporary agents, they've been recruited to assist the commission, so it gives details as to how the commission will be recruiting them as well. So
just to be fair, it's a 28-page document, quite easy to read if you find it, and it will help you to understand the process as a voter, as someone who's even contesting for the presidential or parliamentary elections. This will be an easier guide for you. Maybe you might not get the time to read the CR94. This is an easier version that you can easily read and understand. But Joseph, for those who made it to the program today, and by that I mean the political parties, did they have any complaints or concerns about some of the things spelled out in this document?
Interestingly, for the parties that showed up, Madam Ekwado was around. We also have Kofi Akpaloo of the IPP. They didn't have any challenge with this document. They thought it was a good reference document, especially for those who have been able to pick the form, and these individuals have picked the form, so it serves as a guide. It helps them as to how they have to fill the form. And even for those who are maybe doing the listening right now, or maybe those who intend to pick the forms too, they know where exactly to pick the form. So the parties, as it stands, they don't have any major challenges with regards to the document. One thing that was of interest is the fact that the two major political parties didn't have a representative in there, and that was also of interest, because we expect that for such a process, we expect them to make an appearance there.
All right, thank you, Joseph Akablay, for these details. I'm sure that for many who have been able to follow, they will know what to do. But for anyone, just before you go, for anyone who wants to lay his hands on this, how do they get it?
From the Electoral Commission's office, the headquarters.
Is it also available online?
That is not clear for now.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. So the EC has launched this document. Let's see how this helps everyone as we prepare for the election. 74 days to go. What is influencing your thoughts process? What are you thinking about as we head into this election? What will influence your votes? You can keep your comments and views coming through on our social media handles. So Joy News on Facebook and on Twitter. You can add the hashtag The Pulse to your comments. We'll be glad to share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Now let's head on to the campaign trail. As I mentioned earlier, all the camps have been busy today trying to win the hearts and minds of Ghanaians as we prepare for election 2016. Let's begin in the eastern region, where the Vice President, Kwesi Amissah-Arthur, has been busy meeting some of the party faithful and trying to convince many in the region to vote for the Mahama Amissah-Arthur ticket for the presidency, and also for the parliamentary candidates who are contesting for the NDC. Let's get more from Kofi Sian, who's following the Vice President. Kofi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Francis.
What's the Vice President been to today, and what's been his big message to the people of the Eastern region?
Well, Francis, today happens to be the second day of the Vice President's campaign tour of the Eastern region. First, yesterday, he went to Koko, then to Koforidua. Today, he's been to Akroso. That is his first protocol. Then, from Akroso, he's been to Atiase, then Atim Swedo. So we are moving to the last conference today, where we'll be addressing party people and try to convince Ghanaians to vote for the NDC. Now, let me tell you what they've been saying right from Akroso to where we are now. The Vice President says the Mahama administration has done a lot for Ghanaians, especially in the area of infrastructure. He touched on the construction and establishment of some secondary schools in the Eastern region. He says the Eastern region has benefited a lot from the Mahama administration, even though he claimed that they do not vote for the NDC. So he's been convincing people to vote for the NDC for more development in the Eastern region. He also pointed to the fact that that is Honorable Samuel Kusankofo. He spoke at a rally in Asim Asiase, and he said that the Mahama administration is going to revamp the railway transportation system in Ghana. So from next year, Ghanaians would expect that the railway system in Ghana is going to work just as it was working some years ago. So that is exactly what the Vice President and the party people who have been following him do in the Eastern region.
Tell me something. Earlier, we were made to understand that the Vice President mentioned that if you're short and can't see what's happening in the country, maybe you need to be lifted. Was he making any specific reference to anyone?
No, he did not mention anybody's name. But what triggered this whole issue was that supporters who had gathered there had carried somebody's shoulder high. So the Vice President sought to know from those supporters why they had lifted that person. And the response was that the person was short, so he couldn't see from where he was standing. So the Vice President apparently took advantage of that, and he made mockery of what the people said, and also, he said that such people in the country need to be elevated or need to be lifted high to see the progress and development that the NDC has done for the people of Eastern region and the country at large.
All right, thank you, Kofi, for that update from the Eastern region. The Vice President, Kwesi Arthur, busy as he continues the campaign tour of the Eastern region. Let's head to the Upper West region, still staying with the NDC, because the Chieftaincy Minister, Dr. Seydou Dana, has launched his campaign today to contest for a seat in Parliament. Let's get more from Rafiq Salam. Rafiq, what seat is Dr. Seydou Dana seeking to contest in this year's elections?
The message of Dr. Henry Seydou Dana was simple, straight to the point. He talked about two issues that he will be tackling to be given a nod to be in Parliament. He talked about the need for him to get food, as well as say, portable water for the people, and also work on the roads of the constituency. We in the Upper West region here, the general belief is that the West East constituency is the poorest district in the Upper West region. This is the constituency which is very big. From you to move from one end to the other, you have to the district capital. You have to move in between three districts before they are able to access their district capital. And so for Dr. Henry Seydou Dana, this is one major issue that he said that he will be tackling, trying to give them a very good road for them to link up to the district capital. And then one other issue deal with food, water, drinking water for the people. In this particular constituency, yes, a lot of boreholes have been drilled, but the people still need more water in order to survive. And so these are the issues that Dr. Henry Seydou Dana has been talking about. That earlier, the General Secretary of the NDC, General Seydou Ketia, also talked about the need to get a visual impaired person in Parliament, the need to get a disabled person, and he's saying that today it's a history-making event for the people of what is district, and the whole world is watching them. And he's praying on the people, appealing to the people to give him that opportunity, and he believes that if Dr. Henry Seydou Dana is given that opportunity to be in Parliament, donor countries or Western countries will come to help the district out of the poverty doldrums they are currently wallowing in. And then also there's Honorable Alban Sumanakil for Babi, who also came there, and he also spoke about the need for the party to be united. He spoke about the incumbent member of Parliament, Amin Salifu, who lost Dr. Dana, and called on both of them to come together. Also the supporters to come together. And so generally there's a massive turnout here at Buligi, where the event is currently taking place. And then now is a team of staff who to address the gathering
and then we call it a day.
All right, thank you, Rafi, for that update from the Upper West region. Clearly, the campaign is heating up, especially for the NDC in the Upper West region. We know that yesterday, the team were in the Nadali Kalu constituency as Alban Babing launched his bid to contest for the seat again for re-election in that constituency. Let's come down to the Greater Accra region. In fact, here in Tema, we know that the MPP flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo has been busy as he tries to convince Ghanaians to give him a chance to be president of this country. We can get more from Latif Idris, who's following the MPP flag bearer. Latif, good afternoon to you. Where's Nana Akufo been to today?
I must say, has come to a standstill. Nana Akufo today and the MPP have stormed Tema, and all activities, I must say, have come to a standstill. Nana Akufo has been driving through the streets of Tema, and the support and reception today, Francis, has been massive, very, very massive. Nana Akofo's first port of call was Tema Community 2, where he addressed a rally at the BBC Park. Now, Nana Akofo made two strong points at this rally. First off, he said the continuous stay of President Mahama in office is a threat to the state, reason why he is calling on the Ghanaian youth to massively endorse his candidature come December 7th to make him president. From Tema Community 2, that is the Tema West constituency, where Natoshi is the incumbent member of parliament. We also know that Natoshi and the current parliamentary candidate had some issues after the MPP primaries. Now today, they buried the hatchet. Natoshi lifted the hands of the current candidate of the MPP at the campaign ground, signaling that the differences between the two has now been buried. So the MPP in that constituency to come together and vote massively for the parliamentary candidate and the flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo. Now from there, Nana Akufo moved straight to Tema East, where he also interacted with the chiefs and elders of the community. From there, he addressed a rally at the fishing harbor in Tema. I must tell you, Francis, the reception there was even bigger than what Nana Akufo and the MPP had in the Tema West constituency. As I speak with you, the convoy is driving through Community 1, and the support is massive, unbelievable, Francis. The whole place has come to a standstill. We have market women lining up the streets, party supporters lining up the streets, all of them cheering up the third-time presidential hope for Francis.
Okay. Now, Latif, for Nana Akufo-Addo, as he tours Tema, what's been that big message he has been sharing to convince people of that area to vote for him?
Yeah, you know, the issue of petroleum is also another issue, particularly because this is a fishing community. So the issue of petroleum and other issues related to, the fishing industry came up. When the member of parliament for the area was addressing the crowd, he mentioned, if an allegation is made, though, we need to, go ahead and then clarify that the current fisheries minister has taken some percentage of monies meant for the fisheries industry. He's calling on, Ghanaians to demand accountability from this woman. I'm talking about Madam Sherry Aite. So that is the message the flag bearer has been, sending to the people in the constituency, that if elected as president, he is going to, boost the economy and make the issue of petroleum and light fishing a thing of the past, Francis.
All right, thank you, Latif. I'm sure that when the campaign comes to a close today, we will get an update, comprehensive update here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. But that's a quick wrap of what's happening on the campaign trail today. All the parties have been busy trying to galvanize their base and hope to get some more votes in this year's elections. Who are you voting for? You can share your thoughts with us. I know it's your secret, right, of who you vote for, but tell us what's already whipping up your attention as we prepare for election 2016.